Hi, how you going? In this video, I want to talk about what's new with Lords of the Fallen. With all the latest patches came some nice quality of life features, some quests are fixed now, and most importantly, the multiplayer experience has improved quite a bit. For example, Vestige menu now offers new options for better interaction with players, co-op partner indicators are added, which is fantastic, and many more. The game is definitely in a better shape now, probably the best it ever was, and Hexworks, the devs, are doing a very good job rolling out new patches on a regular basis, unlike fantastic or something, yeah? So today let's check out the patch notes and talk about what's been done and what, in my opinion, still needs to be done, strongly emphasizing on the game's weakest, in my opinion, part. The multiplayer.
What is going on here?
Is Lords of the Fallen multiplayer fixed now? Well, short answer is yes and no, and if you want the long answer, keep watching. I think this video will be helpful to everyone. If you own the game, you will be up to speed with the updates, and if you're still on the fence, hopefully this video will help you make up your mind. Also, the best way to support creators you watch is to subscribe to their channels and like their videos. So if you want to support me, please do that. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask away in the comments. Alright, I'd like to start with the game's overall performance. Some of you remember that it was not very good on launch. I think it's safe to say that most of the issues with performance are now fixed. The game runs very well for me on ultra settings in 1080p, and my specs are in the description if you're curious. Also, the game features two realms, right? Of the living and of the dead, and you can switch between them pretty much on the go. So, performance in Umbral, the world of the dead, was always a bit like choppy, but it feels like it's not an issue anymore for the most part. I've tried spending some extra time in Umbral waiting for the timer to go off, and it's very smooth now, even when dealing with hordes of enemies. Unfortunately, this absolutely diabolical VHS-like filter still remains. Anyways, that being said, overall performance in the game is still area dependent, so you still might experience some minor choppiness in some areas. Brami's Castle, for instance. One of the most annoying things performance-wise was autosave stuttering, especially in late game areas and after playing for more than like 3 hours in one sitting. Lords of the Fallen, just like any other Souls-like game, has one save file per character that keeps getting rewritten every time you reach a certain area or beat a boss, etc. I don't know if it had anything to do with your total playtime on a certain character, or the amount of stuff you're hoarding, or the areas themselves, but it looks like it's also fixed now. I've tested it with 2 characters, one in New Game Plus 2, and the other one was a first playthrough freshie about to beat the last boss, a deer. I've played for around 3 hours on each character, and it looks like the issue is gone now, but let me know how it is for you in the comments. And before we move on to the most important topic, the multiplayer, here's a brief list of other changes that are not as crucial but are very welcome nonetheless. Most of the bosses were made stronger in previous patches, as in they hit harder and can take more damage. Now some of them, for example Abbess Ursula, Judge Cleric, the Light Reaper and Sundered Monarch, have received an update to their behavior to make them quote-unquote more in line with the late game challenges. I haven't had a chance to check them all out, just the Light Reaper and Judge Cleric, and to be honest, I haven't spotted any changes aside from them just being chunkier. But that came with earlier patches, so I don't know. If you know what's different about them and their behavior, you'll let us know. Share it with us. It's also worth mentioning that the Light Reaper sword special move is now fixed, Vanguard armor and some other sets are not glitching out anymore and look the way they should. If you remember, a patch ago Vanguard armor looked like a broom or something. Also, an issue with enemy health bars being seen in the distance in some areas is fixed too now. At least I haven't seen it anymore. It used to oftentimes pop up during the Pietà fight. You know, there are some dogs and Rogar dudes fighting each other by the stairs, and sometimes you could see their health bars while fighting the boss. Well, it's not there anymore. When it comes to multiplayer, there are some really good changes and tweaks. When playing in co-op, you can now see where your partner is thanks to this little glowing indicator thing. It's such a simple addition, but it helps a lot and makes a lot of sense. I only wish teleporting back to the host was an optional feature. Another pretty good quality of life change is additional options in the Vestige menu. You can now leave a co-op session or kick players out of your session from the Vestige. There are now less disconnects during PvP because players who get invaded can no longer go back to the main menu. They can still use Alt F4 though, and also invaded players can't interact with vendors anymore. Moth walls that appear when you get invaded will automatically disappear after a certain amount of time if the ritual never starts. These are very welcome changes, but unfortunately the core issue still remains. Multiplayer is arguably one of the most important features of any Souls-like game. It gives players a solid, good reason to keep coming back, and it increases the game's overall longevity. And I think that even people who have little to no interest in playing these games in co-op or doing PvP should be interested in the game's multiplayer working properly as well. Because like I said, it keeps players playing the game longer, and that gives the developers a reason to keep improving the game, updating it. Multiplayer in Lords of the Fallen was a train wreck from day one. I think mainly due to ping issues. Every co-op session is extremely host dependent, and if your host happens to be far from you distance-wise, for example if you are in the UK and the host is in the US, you will not have a good time playing the game. You will experience rubber banding, and sometimes it will be so bad it will make you shriek like a seagull in labor. So in the patch notes it says adjusted matchmaking to be more flexible with ping requirements to allow for broader and quicker results. In my own experience, co-op with randos is better now, and sometimes you get a host who is, I guess, close to you. You can have a good time smashing bosses, doing quests, or just kicking shit together. But unfortunately, there's no guarantee and it's always a gamble. Sometimes the experience is very smooth, and sometimes it looks like this. And I'm saying that multiplayer has improved because before it was like this 9 times out of 10. Now it's sort of like 50-50. You never know what you're gonna get. I think Skyfreak has a very good point in this comment, left under my previous Lords of the Fallen video. Fixing multiplayer would involve getting dedicated servers. This is a highly costly option that these shareholders won't approve. So you might see some tweaks and refinements, but it will never improve unless they invest in dedicated servers. And that makes a lot of sense to me. With dedicated servers, the co-op experience will no longer depend on the host, how far they are from you, and their internet connection. Bottom line is, both co-op and PvP work better now, but if you are playing with random people, it will always be a gamble. If you have a mate who owns the game and lives close by, you will probably have a very good time playing Lords of the Fallen together. But if you are getting in depending solely on doing PvP or teaming up with strangers, you might get extremely disappointed with how it is. I guess your best bet is still Elden Ring. Or Elden Ring with a seamless co-op mod, if you're looking for an ultimate Souls-like seamless co-op experience with friends. In case you don't know what it is, I have a pretty old video on this channel that explains how to install and use the mod. I leave the link in the description. Lords of the Fallen is a good game I love talking about and making videos about, and I'm happy that it keeps getting improved and updated, but at the moment it can only be enjoyed solo unless you have friends who live close by and have decent internet connection. The saddest part is that Hexworks does not acknowledge the issue with the game's multiplayer. At least I haven't seen them talking about it even once, and I don't know if we should expect them to fix it. The way they keep avoiding the topic looks like they think there's no problem. And look, I don't want to go down the broken promises route, saying that the game originally was advertised as a seamless multiplayer co-op experience, and now look at what we've got! At least they didn't abandon the game and run like Fantastic did with the day before. The whole situation there is just disgusting. I know it's a shitty act of justification, but I just don't feel mad anymore, to be honest. I've made my peace. Lords of the Fallen will probably be the only game that lets you explore the insides of Ronnie James Dio album covers. It's a win. It would have been better if the game was advertised as a decent single-player adventure, but oh well. I don't know if Hexworks will invest in dedicated servers. Frankly, I don't even know if that's the main issue, but essentially, I don't think that the multiplayer will ever be fixed. But anyways, there are more updates coming for Lords of the Fallen. There's a roadmap filled with interesting free content like new quests, new spells, new armor sets, etc. that Hexworks is planning to add this year. So we'll be taking a closer look then. Like this video, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next one, and thanks for watching this one. See ya!